Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're grabbing our magnifying glasses and opening the case file on a skill that's, well, absolutely crucial in software development: defect management. So, here's what we're going to cover. We'll go from the very basics, like what a defect even is, all the way to filing that perfect report. By the end, you'll be a regular defect detective. So, let's start our investigation with the most basic question there is. All right, first things first. To be a good detective, you need to know what you're looking for, right? So what exactly are we hunting for when we talk about defects? I mean, you hear all these words thrown around all the time, right? Error, fault, failure, bug, incident. They kind of get used interchangeably. But in the world of QA, being precise with our language is a really big deal. Okay, so for us, the big important word here is defect. That's the official term for the clue we've just found. Just think of it like this. It's any flaw, any problem we find during our QA activities that makes this system fail to do what we expect it to do. Simple as that. Okay, so we know what a defect is. The next logical question is, where do they come from? Where do these sneaky bugs actually hide out? And believe me, it's not always where you'd think. See, they can pop up literally anywhere in the process. It could start way back in the requirements phase. Something as simple as a vague requirement, like the page should load fast, can cause a defect down the line. It could be a simple typo in the code, of course, but it can also be something totally outside the software, like a server that's not configured right, or even bad test data. So, finding the defect, that's just part one. Managing it, that's a whole other ballgame. And just like any good detective, we have to follow a strict protocol to make sure the case gets solved. And this protocol is really all about a clean handoff. It's a 4-step dance. Step 1, the tester logs it. Step 2, the project lead analyzes it and figures out who needs to work on it. Step 3, the author, usually the developer, goes in and fixes the code. And finally, step 4, it comes right back to the tester who found it, and they retest to make sure the fix actually worked. Case closed. All right, let's zoom in on what might be the most critical hands-on skill in this whole process: how you log that defect. Seriously, a good report can be the difference between a case getting solved fast and a case going completely cold. Every single piece of evidence needs its own case number, right? That's your unique defect ID. It's how we track everything. And after that, you've got the title. Think of the title as your headline. It's the first and maybe the most important clue. It has to point people right to where the problem is. And just look at this comparison here. This is so important. A title like error when logging in, that tells a developer almost nothing useful. It's just noise. But a title like show the login screen again when the user does not have the password, boom. That tells the developer the exact behavior happening under a specific condition. You've just saved them a ton of investigation time. Next up is the description. And this is your evidence locker. You got to be meticulous here. You need to provide the exact steps to reproduce the problem. Then you state what should have happened. We call that the expected result. And finally, you describe what actually happened, the actual result. There can't be any ambiguity. None. Okay, let's dive into a classic mix-up. This is one that can cause some major headaches and really throw a team's efforts off track. So, here's the trap. It's so easy to think that how bad a defect is, its severity, is the same as how quickly it needs to be fixed, its priority. It seems logical, right? But is it actually true? Nope. Absolutely not. And getting this right is so critical. Severity, that's all about the technical impact. How much does it break things? But priority, that's all about the business impact. How urgent is it for the business? Here's a perfect example. Imagine a tiny typo in the company logo on the homepage. Technically, the severity is super low. The site works just fine. But for the marketing team, for the brand, that's a very high priority fix. So, why all this fuss? Why do we go through all this trouble? Why does being a good defect detective really matter for the big picture, for the whole mission? Well, here's the thing. A really good report does so much more than just get one little bug fixed. Sure, on one level, it gives a developer exactly what they need to fix something fast. But if you zoom out a bit, all those good reports help managers track the overall quality of the project. And if you zoom out even further, you might start to see patterns that give you amazing ideas for how to improve the entire development process from the ground up. So I'll leave you with a final thought, a question to chew on. Think about the last bug report you filed. Now that you've got this handbook, was that report a clear, actionable clue that helped your team solve the case? Or was it just noise that slowed everyone down? That right there is the difference a great defect detective makes.